Inferno. Canto 1.
Nel mezzo del cammin di nostra vita, mi ritrovai per una selva oscura, che la diritta via era smarrita.
In the midway of this our mortal life, I found me in a gloomy wood, astray, gone from the path direct. And e'en to tell it were no easy task, how savage wild, that forest, how robust and rough its growth, which to remember only, my dismay renews, in bitterness not far from death. Yet to discourse of what there good befell, all else will I relate discovered there. How first I entered it I scarce can say, such sleepy dullness in that instant weight my senses down, when the true path I left, but when a mountain's foot I reached, where closed the valley, that had picked my heart with dread, I looked aloft, and saw his shoulders broad already vested with that planet's beam, who leads all wanderers safe through every way. Then was a little respite to the fear, that in my heart's recesses deep had lain, all of that night, so pitifully past, and as a man, with difficult short breath, forespent with toiling, scapt from sea to shore, turns to the perilous wide waste, and stands at gaze. E'en so my spirit, that yet failed struggling with terror, turned to view the straits, that none hath passed and lived. My weary frame after short pause recomforted, again I journeyed on over that lonely steep, the hinder foot still firmer. Scarce the ascent began, when, lo! A panther, nimble, light, and covered with a speckled skin, appeared, nor, when it saw me, vanished, rather strove to check my onward going. That ofttimes with purpose to retrace my steps I turned. The hour was morning's prime, and on his way aloft the sun ascended with those stars, that with him rose, when love divine first moved those its fair works, so that with joyous hope all things conspurred to fill me, the gay skin of that swift animal, the matin dawn and the sweet season. Soon that joy was chased, and by new dread succeeded, when in view a lion came, 'gainst me, as it appeared, with his head held aloft and hunger mad, that e'en the air was fear struck. A she-wolf was at his heels, who in her leanness seemed full of all wants, and many a land hath made disconsolate ere now. She with such fear o'erwhelmed me, at the sight of her appalled, that of the height all hope I lost. As one, who with his gain elated, sees the time when all unwares is gone, he inwardly mourns with heart-griping anguish. Such was I, haunted by that fell beast, never at peace, who coming o'er against me, by degrees impelled me where the sun in silence rests. While to the lower space with backward step I fell, my ken discerned the form one of one, whose voice seemed faint through long disuse of speech. When him in that great desert I espied, "Have mercy on me," cried I out aloud, "spirit, or living man, whate'er thou be." He answered, "Now not man, man once I was, and born of Lombard parents, Mantuana both by country, when the power of Julius yet was scarcely firm. At Rome my life was passed beneath the mild Augustus, in the time of fabled deities and false. A bard was I, and made Anchises upright sung the subject of my song, who came from Troy, when the flames preyed on Ilium's haughty towers. But thou, say wherefore to such perils past return'st thou? Wherefore not this pleasant mount ascendest, cause and source of all delight? And art thou then that Virgil, that well-spring, from which such copious floods of eloquence have issued? I with front abashed replied, "Glory and light of all the tuneful train, may it avail me that I long with zeal have sought thy volume, and with love immense have conned it o'er. My master thou and guide, thou he from whom alone I have derived that style, which for its beauty into fame exalts me. See the beast, from whom I fled. O save me from her, thou illustrious sage! For every vein and pulse throughout my frame she hath made tremble." He, soon as he saw that I was weeping, answered, "Thou must needs another way pursue, if thou wouldst scape from out that savage wilderness. This beast, at whom thou criest, her way will suffer none to pass, and no less hindrance makes than death, so bad and so accursed in her kind, that never sated is her ravenous will, still after food more craving than before. To many an animal in wedlock vile she fastens, and shall yet to many more, until that greyhound come, who shall destroy her with sharp pain. He will not life support by earth nor its base metals, but by love, wisdom, and virtue, and his land shall be the land twixt either feltro. In his might shall safety to Italia's plains arise, for whose fair realm, Camilla, virgin pure, Nisus, Euryalus, and Turnus fell. He with incessant chase through every town shall worry, until he to hell at length restore her, thence by envy first let loose. I for thy profit pondering now devise, that thou mayst follow me, and I thy guide will lead thee hence through an eternal space, where thou shalt hear despairing shrieks, and see spirits of old tormented, who invoke a second death, and those next view, who dwell content in fire, for that they hope to come, we know the time may be, among the blessed, into whose regions if thou then desire to ascend, a spirit worthier than I must lead thee, in whose charge, when I depart, thou shalt be left. 4. That Almighty King, who reigns above, a rebel to his law, adjudges me, and therefore hath decreed, that to his city none through me should come. He in all parts hath sway, there rules, there holds his citadel and throne. O happy those, whom there he chooses. I to him in few, barred. By that God, whom thou didst not adore, I do beseech thee, that this ill and worse I may escape, to lead me, where thou saidst, that I St. Peter's gate may view, and those who, as thou tell'st, are in such dismal plight. Onward he moved, I close his steps pursued.